Hi, this is the Alex at Bat podcast. I'm Jason. This is Alex. This is where we discuss all things sports, whether it be sports from back in the day, present time things. We try to keep current as well as throw a nod to the past. We try to cover all sports, although we all know at this point in time it's football season. So expect this episode to be heavy on the football side. The first thing that we're going to talk about today is what's on a lot of people's minds, and that's the Aaron Rodgers situation. Can you elaborate something definitely season influencing, as well as perhaps a career type situation thing happened to Rodgers last game?
So today we'll be doing is a week one recap, some big headlines throughout the week one season so far because it just completed. So the first one is Aaron Rodgers. So he has an Achilles injury, so he's out for the whole season, and he actually completed 0 passes, and that will be remaining the same for the rest of the season since he's out for the year. So that is definitely something that people weren't expecting. They were expecting a lot of expectations. I know a lot of people were talking about like this team's going to be like a Super Bowl team now with Aaron Rodgers. Everyone thought they found the quarterback they needed, but it just went right back to the same quarterback they had last year, who struggled a lot throughout the season last year.
Well, I got a couple questions concerning that point exactly, as far as going back to the quote unquote backup, formerly the starter. But before we do that, though, let's back up a moment. What actually happened with Aaron Rodgers? He got an Achilles injury. Was it what point in the game? What was the play that actually caused the injury? Do you have any details concerning that?
It was in the first quarter. It looked like a play where he got like sacked or and then it pretty much towards Achilles. So it looked like the guy who was trying to sack him pretty much
Was it a clean hit?
It was not like a clean hit. It was just that the way how I think he tackled him was the way how he tore his Achilles. And a lot of people were already expecting throughout the game it looked pretty severe. Most people were saying at least he was going to miss multiple weeks. And then it turned out that and then once they found out it was an Achilles, everyone knew he was out for the season.
Interesting. Yeah, I'd be interested. I don't know if Rodgers has addressed it yet formally on social media, but I guess we'll wait and see what happens there. Going back to the now starter, is that Mike White?
No, it's Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson. Who's Mike White?
He's not even on the team anymore.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm a little dated then, because last time we went up to the Jet Stadium, I guess it was 2 times ago when we saw the Bengals.
2 years ago, yeah.
Anyway, so Zach Wilson. Yeah, I guess there's an argument to be made that they're kind of going to fold back into their old ways because that was their old quarterback and they weren't hugely successful with him at the helm. However, do you think there can be an argument made for the fact that you have a mentor such as Rodgers in preseason, on the sidelines during the regular season? No longer is Rodgers threatening Wilson's job. The pressure's off in that respect, at least. I mean, a whole different type of pressure is back on him now that he's in the starting position. But do you think there's an argument to be made that just by having Rodgers on the sidelines will elevate the game of Zach Wilson and or the rest of the team?
I definitely think that it definitely brings a lot of pressure off of Zach Wilson. Everyone knew that they were going to bring in a new quarterback to compete with Zach Wilson, but I definitely think that it definitely takes off some pressure off of Zach Wilson. But I definitely know a lot of people weren't happy to see obviously Aaron Rodgers hurt and also have to see another season of Zach Wilson because he's struggled his first 2 seasons and now it's just pretty much back to the same old quarterback situation. So we'll really have to see how he's going to do this year. And, at this point of the season, he will be the starter for the remainder of the season until told otherwise. So
yeah, I mean, it could be a Brock Purdy situation. Although, I mean, we didn't see Purdy prior to his start in San Francisco. We've seen Wilson play before, but it could be a Wilson 2.0. We don't know till we see. I mean, he can shut the mouths of a lot of doubters, a lot of haters, if he goes out there and performs consistently from week 2 on. Next up, we have the Cowboys absolute and utter total world domination. Just kidding, not world domination. However, domination, complete domination of the New York Giants. Score?
It's 40-0.
Yeah, that counts as a domination. What do you think happened there? I mean, was it a complete collapse on the part of the Giants? Was it just a fired up, dominant Cowboys squad? A combination of the two? Bad calls by the referee, because I've heard there was a couple this week, especially in the Jets game. What do you think led to that 40-0 rout?
I definitely think the turnovers on the offensive side and not being able to protect Daniel Jones was definitely a big issue. The Cowboys defense was just dominant, and I think that like the offense being able to score, and then you had a defensive touchdown, a special teams touchdown, and an offensive touchdown all in the same game. And the Cowboys have not done that since all the way back in 2009. Their first, I think it was their first game of the year in 2009. That was all the way back 15 seasons ago. So it's been a while, and that was I think that was maybe against the Giants. I am unsure, but I believe it might have been. So it's definitely crazy to have all those things, and I definitely think that's definitely part of the reason why they lost to Bailey's, because they allowed a touchdown on each
scenario,
each
essentially.
Scenario in each team, like, with the special teams, the defense, and the offense all scoring touchdowns. I think that kind of led to it, and the Giants really had no answers to do anything about it. I think that the offensive line got dominated by that good pass rush of the Cowboys.
That's got to be scary for opposing teams coming in week 2 against. Do you know who the Cowboys are playing week 2?
Cowboys are playing week 2. Jets. I'm unsure.
Or has their work cut out for them? Because, I mean, you talk about a multifaceted threat when you got people scoring defensive touchdowns, offensive special teams. I mean, that poses a serious threat to anybody coming in, and they're going to have to do extra homework before that game to get ready for what looked like a pretty strong Cowboys team. I mean, the Giants might not have been a big preseason favorite. I don't know where they really stood in the rankings, but the fact that, I mean, I remember going to see the Giants last year versus the Eagles. They didn't slouch. The fact that he got shut down as badly as he did, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
On to what is
Joe Burrow only had 82 passing yards, so lowest
Joe Burrow
passing yards in his whole NFL career.
Highest single season pay, lowest passing yard.
$275 million quarterback right there.
Wow, over how many years?
For the next 5 seasons.
5 seasons. Good
so
Lord.
That is 2025, all the way through 2029.
It's like 55-ish a year.
Yeah.
55 million.
And started off the year with just 82 passing yards. And a lot of people were saying, and the media and stuff like that were saying, because the reason they think they got shut out so badly was because they didn't play any of their starters in the preseason. And that because they didn't really have time to, like...
Who was playing their starters in the preseason?
Not a lot of teams, but maybe that's why. And they're also saying that's probably why the scores weren't all that, like, that's why the games, they would say, they said it wasn't all that, like, impressive. Like, it wasn't, like, any, like, good games.
Preseason.
Because of because of not playing starters. But they were definitely saying that could be part of the reason, because Joe Burrow also had some injury during the training camp. I can't remember what it was, but I know that definitely was a setback and wouldn't even be able to participate in the preseason anyways.
Yeah.
And didn't even play any of their starters, and they think that's probably some of the chemistry and stuff was definitely off. I could see, like, in the beginning, he was just missing receivers left and right, wide open, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the people that are criticizing the Bengals for not playing more starters in the preseason are just armchair quarterbacks. I don't think that any team in their right mind is going to go out there and treat those preseason games like a full-fledged even practice for the starting crew. I just never got the sense that was about. I mean, when we went to see the Browns and the Eagles play, it was a practice for the second stringers to come out and shine a little bit. But and yeah, you're right with the Burrow situation, the injury throughout the preseason, the calf muscle, right? Yeah, they don't want to take a chance. And back to Rodgers, if they had gone out and played Rodgers, he probably had an Achilles issue before he entered that game on Sunday. I mean, he could have been out in the preseason with that. very well.
Yeah.
So
I know he played during the preseason a little bit too.
did he? He had a couple throws.
Yeah, he had a couple
Interesting.
throws. Especially it was shown on Hard Knocks where he actually like talked into like pretty much said something to someone, like after some like late hit, pretty much, like talked a little trash and that went viral since it was on Hard
I
Knocks.
was gonna say he was hamming it up for Hard Knocks. That's probably why I got out there.
Yeah, it was pretty much a good Hard Knocks entertainment to see the guys who most people want to see out there. So
Right.
that's definitely some good things. And then I think a lot of the problem was he really had a hard time connecting with his receivers. And pretty much all over. Like it was like not. It would definitely he definitely looked a little off. So, but they play the Ravens this weekend. Man, the Ravens always have those injury killers too. They just already have 2 players out for the season.
Do they?
Already, man, they always get killed with injuries throughout the season. Bunch of I would say players who are definitely injury prone. So definitely hope everything goes well with them. But I think they'll definitely be. I think they'll be fine too. Like especially already the injury bugs starting to hit the Ravens. Pretty badly with 2 players already out for the season.
Out for the season. Holy moly!
Yeah.
Wow. All right, what's up next with Eagles we have here?
Eagles barely beating the Patriots.
Patriots look good.
Yeah, they definitely look like
Mac
looked a lot
Jones.
better. Mac Jones.
He looked cool under pressure.
He looked a lot better, but
Brady-esque. Not Brady.
And then it was definitely Tom Brady's ceremony they had for him during the halftime since he retired. So it definitely wasn't a bad game for I guess Tom Brady to see up in the booth.
Yeah, I mean, he even said it wasn't like playing. He missed that, but he did enjoy the fact that he could come back, that he felt at home, that he felt loved, he felt the appreciation. So that was cool to see.
And I definitely think that the reason that Jalen Hurts was definitely the big turning point was the fumble he had late at the game, and then not being able to connect with his tight end, Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, it was like I remember for a string of plays there, Goddard was wide open. Romo kept circling him on the instant replay, showing, he's open here, he's open now, and he just wasn't getting those looks. And when he was getting a look, it was a uncatchable pass. So I'm sure going back week 2, you're going to see Goddard a little more activity reception-wise.
I've definitely got to say I was hoping Hurts could connect more with his receivers. I know A.J. Brown had a good game. He had around like 70 yards. But I definitely think that he could have connected with him a lot more against that, questionable Patriots secondary. I could say that to say the least. Because I was expecting AJ Brown to have a big day, and he kind of didn't have a bad day, but it's definitely a little quiet too. So I'm hoping that Jalen Hurts can connect with his receivers more, especially if they want to be good throughout the season. That definitely was not a good game to say at least. It was good they won, but it was definitely they definitely looked a lot sloppy too, especially with that Jalen Hurts fumble. That definitely.
Well, I mean, listen, it's in a way, if you want to look at it in an optimistic way, everybody knows you win the most from your losses. But in this case, with the expectations that were on the Eagles and the rebuilding that's going on with the Patriots, everybody felt like this game was going to be a slam dunk rout. Like that, if anybody was putting money on it, they would have said that's going to be the 40-0 game, not the Dallas Giants game.
I was expecting that to be a lot more competitive. That kind of looked.
So my point is that there was a lot of mistakes. I mean, in some people's eyes, it might have even felt like a loss, although it's important to note that it wasn't a loss.
Yeah.
But a lot of things to improve from, a lot of things to learn. I know their linebacker situation for the Eagles kind of has to get ironed out. I was listening to some sports radio today, so that's a concern of a lot of fans. I think the Jalen Hurts thing's obviously going to be fine. He's an amazing quarterback. We'll see what he has to offer come week 2.
Absolutely. And then our last thing of the day is the Steelers lost 30-7, and it's been the same thing that we heard a lot of people from the media once, fans and stuff, once their offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, fired. He's been the offensive coordinator since 2021, and the offense has not looked good ever since 2021. They're not really scoring a lot of points per game. Like total yards, man, it was like around the second quarter. It was like Steelers only had 1 yard, and 49ers had 199 yards.
Wow.
Just in the second quarter. and it just shows how bad the offense is poorly, just like not executing, not moving the chains a lot. So it's just a bunch of punts and stuff like that. So I definitely think that, man, like I was watching that game, I was like, geez, this offense. I think that they have a good they have a good team and all, but it's just that the play calling is terrible. It's just a bunch of jet sweeps and stuff like that, and trying to trick the defenses. But in the NFL, you're playing against guys who are pros who are getting paid to do that.
Right.
You're not
They're
going
going to adjust.
They're going to adjust, and you're not really going to trick them. I think more of his play calling is more of like a college level, or even a varsity high school level.
Junior college.
Like you pretty much can, he tries all these jet sweeps, and stuff like that, no NFL player is going to fall for that. So I think that, definitely if they see that on film a lot, that more people are going to expect it too, since that's really what he does. His
bread and butter.
His plans are usually just trying to trick defenses, and it just doesn't work in the NFL after a while. And it's not really that entertaining. I know during the offseason, he didn't really want to open up the playbook a lot, and that got a lot of people very concerned. And I was expecting it to be a lot different game, but I think that, you also, I would give the blame more to the Steelers because of the bad play calling and the bad execution and giving up big plays, especially in the run game, more than than giving more credit to the 49ers. There's a lot of mistakes they made. I felt like that changed the game, especially Christian McCaffrey running all over the field and stuff like that. So I definitely think that the offense needs to get better if they want to be a lot more competitive and play well against good teams, because it's just like very, I would say, boring to watch their offense play.
Interesting. Well, that does it for our week 1 wrap up. Join us next week. We're going to be hitting up week 2. The Phillies might even give us something to talk about as well, so we might touch on some of those games as they move towards the postseason, hopefully. And hopefully their bullpen gets it together. So that does it for us. Thanks for tuning in. This is Alex at Bat Podcast. On behalf of Alex, I'm Jason, and we will see you next time.
See you later. Goodbye.